Well, hello friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're safe. I hope you're having a great day. And here it is. It is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, although I don't think we're having tacos. In fact, I have no idea what we're having for dinner, but be that as it may. Today is the day that basically most rookies are reporting in for training camp to get their COVID test. They literally have to take test after test after test, and hopefully by Saturday we'll actually have our players in, begin to work out. The NFL, the NFLPA are beginning to work out how they're going to do this, and we're hearing that now the number is up to, I think, 95 players who have already tested positive for coronavirus. And they're expecting, of course, now that we're testing everybody, to actually be in the hundreds. The thing, here's one way to look at this. Maybe in some regards, if some of the players end up getting it now, as opposed to later on in the season, then maybe they're good. I don't know. I'm trying to be the glass half full guy here and hope for the best. We're seeing baseball had scrimmages yesterday, and come Friday that they're going to end up having their season started, and we're hearing good things about the NBA as far as the players in the bubble. But the NFL, they're not playing in a bubble. This is going to have to be a whole lot of discipline from the players, realizing that we can't be, the center of the universe here and just hang out in the club and party and all that. That it's got to be really football and home all season long. It's the only way this is going to work out, and we hope that this works out. So we'll see what happens. Now, I know there's a lot of players out there that have concerns, of course. Russell Wilson and D-Law, their wives are pregnant and things. There's some players that have, their family members that live with them, and they're concerned about that. I know I had a friend of ours who is a doctor in New York, and during the coronavirus, he basically stayed away from the family. Basically, I'm working and I am just, away from y'all. I don't want to risk bringing it home, and maybe that's what NFL players will have to do in some regard to truly keep everybody safe. Although I will say this much, for the NFL players to be tested every day for the first 2 weeks of training camp, and then to be tested every other day if the rates are below 5%, that may be the safest place that they actually are at for the majority of their day. You think about kids going to school and hearing, one of the governors say, well, kids are going to get coronavirus and they're going to go home and they're going to be fine. Well, if the kids are bringing it home, how about us older people? But be that as it may, let's hope for the best and hope that we have a season. And if we do have a season, I'm going to go ahead and stir the pot a little bit here. We know that Dak Prescott didn't get his long-term contract, which is a mistake in my mind by the Dallas Cowboys, in the same way as the mistake the year before, because the price doesn't go down. We keep hearing all these people say, you got to prove it. Well, I'm going to ask you, what did Kirk Cousins prove coming from a 7-8 season with the Redskins, going to Minnesota to get his deal? What did Kirk Cousins prove after finally getting a playoff victory last year to prove that he deserves 2 more years fully guaranteed? What did Matthew Stafford prove, never winning a playoff game and being the highest paid? What did Jimmy Garoppolo prove with having 8 games under his belt? It's just the way it is. But here's the thing now. I said over a year and a half ago, get Dak done before Russell Wilson was going to cost you. Because at that time, you probably could have got a deal around $28, $29 million, which would have been high at that time, but it would be dirt cheap right now. We waited. And when you looked at it from this standpoint right now, because he had been franchise tagged, you had to look at it as a 2-year window. 31.2 right now. Next year, 37.8. That averages out to 35. So if you're Dak Prescott, why should I take a deal that's going to be less than the 2 franchise tags together? That comes out to roughly 34, 35. And that's about what the deal was looking at being done. You know, we heard James Slater say 100 million guaranteed, over 100 million guaranteed, and somewhere between 33 and 35. Well, I'm not going to take less money than my franchise tag is and lock myself up for a long period of time when I can go ahead and say, you know, I'll wait till next year. So here's the thing. If we have a season this year, and the NFL, believe me, if the NFL has to pull me off the streets and put me out on the field so that way they have somebody with the star on their helmet, you can best believe the NFL will do that. They don't care who's playing out there. They only care that somebody is out there playing with that logo on their helmet, just like they did that scab year. They didn't care there was scabs. All they knew was, we have football, we got it on TV, we're going to get paid for that product. If they could put all scabs out there and make the same money, you don't think that they would? They would. Believe me. And you're going to see guys who 6 months ago had no idea that they were going to play in the NFL. But beyond that, next year, for the Dallas Cowboys, here's the problem for them. Dak Prescott is scheduled to make $37.8 million. Might as well say $38 million. The following year, the tag would be $54 million. That means between the two, you average that, $45 million. $45 million for the 2 years. So now you're looking at this and saying, okay, that $35 million that we were talking about last year, that's out the window. Yeah, apparently the football guys are agreeing. That $35 million is out the window. What you're looking at is an average of 45. So that money that you're talking about, Pat Mahomes money, that 45 that he has. Now see, understand, it's really not 45 right now. Right now, basically, the money that Dak Prescott's going to make this year and next year on the franchise tag is what Pat Mahomes will make over the next 3 years. But the Cowboys screwed up on this thing. So now, let's say Dak Prescott has another really good season. And let's say that the special teams don't suck. Let's say the defensive line steps up and plays a little bit better. That D-Law is now hangry because he doesn't have the Snickers deal anymore. And he gets more than 5 sacks. Let's say Gallimore, the Canadian bulldozer, gets that push in the middle along with Dontari Poe. And let's say Diggs digs up 3 or 4 interceptions. And the Dallas Cowboys team doesn't go 8-8. This team does well. That Zeke Elliott is mad. He's mad that people have been saying that he's not the same guy anymore. And he all of a sudden has a great season. And that we find out that Mike McCarthy is a difference maker over Jason Garrett. That all these things come together and the team stays healthy and makes a deep run in the playoffs and maybe beyond. And you got Dak Prescott there. That price tag is well over 40. Well over 40. You can go through and you can say that Dak Prescott's not the guy. And I'm sick and tired of listening to people that are constantly just, I'm just not even dealing with them. I'm just not even dealing. You can feel free to go take your Dak Prescott 8.5 someplace else because I'm not going to deal with it. Because you're not a rational person. You don't listen to reality. If you look at, say, the Jets game where we get look, oh, Dak Prescott, he stunk, man. Dak Prescott was on his back. He took 1 sack but literally was on his back with shot after shot after shot that the officials would not call. If it was Tom Brady, they would have stopped the middle of the game and they would have said, listen, you guys forfeit because you are being too rough to the quarterback. But we don't get those kind of breaks. If we had a real coach that recognized the fact that your quarterback was having the hot hand, that your running back wasn't doing it, and kept it in the quarterback's hand, you would have beat the Minnesota Vikings. If you would realize that if we didn't have officials and we were playing in Foxborough against Tom Brady, that you get 2 tripping calls that get plays called back that could have been the difference between winning and losing, living and dying, that maybe, just maybe, we've been in the playoffs. But of course, nobody ever will give Dak Prescott credit when we go through and we kick the Eagles' ass, when we go on a run, when we're 3-5 and make it to the playoffs. Nobody will give him credit for that. They'll say it was the offensive line. They'll say it was Zeke Elliott. They'll say it was the defense. But yet when we lose, we only look at Dak Prescott. You know, in some ways, I wish that we could go back in time and just put another quarterback in there over the course of the last 4 years and just see what the difference would be. To see if we had taken the guy that a lot of you wanted, Paxton Lynch. And see where the Dallas Cowboys would have been these last 4 years. But hey, I'm out here taking a bath in the rain for my quarterback. Well, let me get out of here before I get struck by lightning because I am under some trees.